Hey everyone, my name is Oleg and I am CEO and co-founder of Binaryx.com. During the last 3 years, we have been attracted more than $8 million in the real estate in different countries, Montenegro, Turkey, Indonesia, and right now we enabling the really new features on the platform. We allow to the developers list their properties and allow them to collect money into those properties. And one of the successful cases what we have in the past was the developer from the Montenegro with the name of Dukley. And with the Dukley, we launching right now the totally different class of the assets that we doesn't have before. And today we will show you the all benefits of that assets and how much money you can make on it. Today with me, Ivana, the representative of Dukley. Dukley is the real estate developer in Montenegro who developed more than 16,000 square meters and built more than 100 residential units. I'm really glad to see you, Ivana, today, and it's really pleasure to have you here. So let's start our conversation, and could you please tell us a little bit more about your role in Dukley and what you're responsible for?
Oleg, hello, and thank you for having me. My name is Ivana Tomashevich, and I work as sales manager at Dukley, where I focus on international real estate investment and development projects across Montenegro. My role involves working closely with global investors, presenting our projects and helping them understand both the investment potential and the lifestyle value that Montenegro and Dukley offer. Me introducing myself, probably that would be at this point, should need to know because we will be revealing all of the other steps as we go forward, Oleg.
Okay, awesome. So it's really a pleasure to have you here today. And today I will ask you a lot of questions about what you offer to the investors. And today I will ask you about how much money they can make, because first of all, we are an investment platform and we would like to learn a little bit more about new opportunities, and we always searching for the new opportunities. Could you please tell me a little bit more about Dukley and to the investors who will watch those videos, what is Dukley is and what Dukley bring into the investors?
Well, as for the company that I work for, I can tell you that Dukley has been operating in Montenegro for more than 15 years and has successfully completed multiple development projects across the country. To date, the company, as you have already previously said, has completed 4 residential projects, developed 107 residential units, delivered a total residential area of 16,072 square meters exact. All the projects delivered within the planned timelines. This is very, very important, and it's one of the key factors that investors look for when they actually evaluate developers. And at the same time, Dukley continues to expand its portfolio with new development projects currently in progress and reflecting the company's long-term commitment to the Montenegrin market. And when it comes to actually when the client or the investors ask why are we different and what actually Dukley is, we are a lifestyle. This company actually offers to every owner and investor a 5-star hotel, a luxury and a 5-star hotel service. We have a lot of our project is connected and we have a lot of infrastructure rather than just one apartment or one residential unit to offer.
Yeah, honestly, I've been in Dukley for the 2 years ago, and honestly, it's like one of the best projects that I have been found there in Montenegro. So really appreciate for everything that you are doing. But today we are speaking right about the investment opportunities. And one friend of mine, the really wise investor who invests in the real estate for more than $100 million, always told me one interesting topic. What is the most important stuff in the real estate? This is the location. When we're talking about location and Montenegro itself, Montenegro is the small country, right? We need to understand why Montenegro should attract the new investors and why Montenegro is really great potential for the investments. Share with us, please, your vision or vision of your company, please.
So Oleg, Montenegro, as you have said, is a small country and offers a unique combination of geography, accessibility, ownership, security, and investment potential that is very difficult to find elsewhere in the Mediterranean or in the global resort markets. So first of all, the geographical position of Montenegro is exceptional. The country sits in one of the most beautiful parts of the Adriatic Sea, known for its extremely clean waters and high salinity, which is different than Croatia, that is very, very close to us. And this contributes to the clarity of and quality of the sea. Despite being a small country, Montenegro offers an incredible diversity of landscapes, because within a single day, you can experience the Adriatic coastline, national parks, mountains, and ski resorts. This is all that I'm speaking you can visit in one day. In fact, during summer, it's entirely possible to start the morning on the sea, on the beach, and then finish off your day on the most north point in Montenegro. And accessibility is another major advantage. Montenegro has two international airports, Tivat and Podgorica, and they both provide very efficient access to the main destinations, because after landing, you can reach the coast and the beach within 20 minutes, and in winter, you can be on ski lifts after landing within 1.5 hours. So investors and property owners do not lose valuable time on long transfer or domestic flights, which is common in places such as, for example, Spain or Italy. And Montenegro is also extremely well connected internationally. When we talk about airports, the country maintains direct flights to major European cities, including London, Paris, Istanbul, Vienna, Frankfurt, Zurich, Belgrade, Dubai, and many others during the tourist season. And when it comes to property ownership, for us in Dukley, this is very important. Montenegro offers clear advantages compared with several competing markets, because foreign buyers, and this is a very, very important question, because every investor and buyer, they always ask, what is the process of purchase for me as a foreigner? So foreign buyers can own real estate directly and with full ownership rights, so registering in the cadastral system. The purchasing procedure is straightforward, transparent, and significantly faster than in many EU countries. That differs us from market like Bali, where foreign investors cannot directly own land in most cases and must rely on leasehold structures or local nominee arrangements, because Montenegro allows investors to purchase and hold property with full ownership security, which is an important factor for long-term asset protection. So compared with other countries and with other developers, we also offer a significant price advantage, because Montenegro is not yet part of the European Union, and real estate prices, particularly in the luxury segment. So we are still approximately at 40-45% lower than comparable properties and investors and developers within EU Mediterranean destinations of similar quality.
So, if I understand correctly, the real estate in the other part of the Europe right now is 40-45% cost more than in Montenegro. Is it correct?
Yes, of course.
Wow. So that's really good numbers, and this is the really great potential for the additional returns for the investor. But what about the prices on the market for the last from 3 up to 5 years?
So, over the last 5 years, Montenegro has experienced steady and sustainable growth in real estate values, driven by international demand, tourism development, and increasing global recognition of the country as a luxury destination. So, however, most analysts and market participants agree that Montenegro is still in an early growth phase rather than at the peak of the cycle. Because at this point, here in Montenegro, we can feel the very high prices of real estate. But actually, we are finding ourselves just at the beginning, because there's several key drivers that support continued appreciation. That's major infrastructure development, increasing international tourism, government investment programs, and the country's path toward European Union membership. Because Montenegro is still outside of the EU, property prices remain significantly below comparable EU destinations. So historically, countries that joined the EU experienced noticeable appreciation in real estate values as integration progressed. So, with the number of announced national development projects and large-scale infrastructure investments currently underway, Montenegro is positioned for long-term growth rather than saturation. In simple terms, many investors see the current moment as the beginning of the next stage of development rather than the peak prices in Montenegro.
So, as I understand, the biggest advantage that you're selling right now for the Montenegro investments, it's EU integration. As I know that everyone talking for a long time about EU integration for the Montenegro, but I'm curious about what stage is it right now, and how does that affect the asset value for real, and why exactly that will affect the assets for real?
Oleg, thank you for the question. It's a very serious one, and Montenegro is widely considered the most advanced EU candidate country in the Western Balkans. The country opened EU accession negotiations in 2012 and has already opened all negotiating chapters, with several chapters previously closed. The government has repeatedly confirmed its goal of joining the European Union within coming years, and Montenegro remains strongly aligned with the EU legislation, financial regulations, and institutional reforms. For investors, the process is extremely important because EU accession typically brings stronger legal certainty, infrastructure development, institutional reforms, increased foreign investment, and higher property values. In many European countries that joined EU in the previous expansion waves, real estate prices increased significantly during the accession phase. Not only after full membership, but actually in the accession phase. Montenegro is currently at the pre-accession stage, where investors can still enter the market before a full convergence with the EU pricing levels.
Wow, that's nice. And actually, we are already talking a lot about the other competitors. Could you please let me know with which countries right now the Montenegro is compared? Probably it's Croatia, right? And some other countries. Could you let us know a little bit more about that? And maybe, if you know, what is the difference between the square meter price in those countries and in Montenegro at the moment?
So, for example, as I have already told you, because we already talked about and we have already mentioned why Montenegro rather than any other country. So this is geographical position, as we already talked about, and of course the proximity of the airports and the proximity of actually reaching the beach and reaching the northern point in Montenegro is something that other countries actually cannot provide. Meaning, when you go in Switzerland, in Spain, in Italy, in Turkey, because those are mostly the countries that we are being compared to. Italy, for example, because with our prices, most people are actually sure that they can buy something better, for example, in Italy. But they don't know, they are not at the beginning, they always think this is actually something that's very good for them. But actually, after we introduce them to all of the infrastructure and everything that Montenegro and Dukley combined can offer when it comes to the service, to the infrastructure, to actually all of the payment structures and investment possibilities that we offer, after we finish the presentation and after we are met, that opinion usually goes sideways, meaning they always say, oh, if this development and this developer were in Italy or in Spain or anywhere else in the world, the prices would be much, much higher. So you are actually selling something that in EU or, for example, in any other country in the world would be much, much, much higher and much more expensive. So when it comes to this, they usually, our prices, for example, for square meter, we don't form the prices per square meter. We form our prices based on our location and our services. Not every development, not every apartment, not every location offer the same. We offer a big variety and we are international when it comes to the services. So actually, I can assure you that our price are 40 to 45% lower than any other project that they compare us to or country that they compare us to. For example, Spain, as I told you, Italy, Turkey, etc., etc.
Wow, that's really nice comparing. And so as I understand, this is about Croatia, Spain, Italy, Turkey, all the countries that have access to the sea, right? And I have another question about infrastructure, because a couple of the times you mentioned that Montenegro has a really great infrastructure. And during my preparation phase to that interview, I saw that I found the information that Montenegro put $2.3 billion in the infrastructure. What exactly it was? What they built?
Montenegro government has announced a large national investment program aimed at strengthening infrastructure, tourism, and regional connectivity. So the key projects for Montenegro include completion and expansion of the Bar-Boljare highway connecting the Adriatic coast with Central Europe. So modernization of Podgorica and Tivat airports and improvements in maritime infrastructure and marinas. Also the development of northern ski resorts and mountain tourism infrastructure, and of course, expansion of energy and transportation networks. So these investments aim to improve connectivity between the coast and the north of the country for further integrate Montenegro into European transport corridors. So for real estate investors, infrastructure development typically has a direct impact on property value, as improved accessibility increases both tourism and residential demand too.
Okay, so as I understand, like the Montenegro is growing really fast, and the last time I visited Montenegro, it was more than 2 years ago, and I saw that a lot of roads is building at the moment, and I hope they finish them already right now. That's unique and really great that country is taking care about the new coming investments and the people who are coming in the country. And I have a lot of friends who right now decide to move to Montenegro, so they're happy with their life. And honestly, maybe if I will choose some country in Europe for myself, Montenegro will be like one of the countries that I can choose. I'm worried about as an investor and as a person who is working all around the world and have remote work and who is investing its capital. This is the taxes. I'm not sure that Montenegro is really good place for the taxes. Could you please let me know a little bit more about taxation in Montenegro? What taxes I could have as investor, and what if there is no double taxation like in other countries?
So Oleg, this question is very interesting because it will be my pleasure to show you and tell you otherwise, because we have a lot of clients and buyers who actually move to Montenegro because of the taxation. Montenegro is known for its investor-friendly tax system, which applies equally to both local and foreign buyers. So foreign investors can purchase real estate under the same conditions as Montenegrin citizens, and the process is transparent and regulated through the national cadastral system. The country also maintains one of the lowest corporate tax rates in Europe, with a progressive system that ranges up to 15%, depending on income level, of course. For property transactions, the standard property tax is 3% of the purchase value when buying from a private owner, while new developments purchased directly from developers include VAT instead of transfer tax. So Montenegro has also signed a double taxation avoidance agreements with more than 45 countries, ensuring that investors are not taxed twice on the same income in two different jurisdictions. So this framework provides a clear and predictable environment for international investors.
Okay, that sounds good. In continuation, and probably that will be the last question about Montenegro, and you compare the Montenegro, for example, with the Bali, right? Bali has its own advantages and its own bad sides. Bad side is the ownership. The advantage that is like 12 months in a year, there is the season, and people are coming here like 12 months. What is the seasonality in the Montenegro?
Actually, when it comes to Montenegro, it's really easy to say that definitely it's the whole year. Montenegro is a small country. So when it comes to this, meaning if you have and if you own a real estate in coastal parts of Montenegro, your season will last from May until September. But it's very hard to say that this will be your frame. Sometimes Montenegro starts 1st of April with hot weather, with very nice sunny days where you can go to the beach and enjoy all the perks that actually coast gives to you. And when it comes to the north, I can for sure say that northern Montenegro lives throughout the year, because during the winter people have the opportunity to go skiing and to enjoy the snow in northern Montenegro, but during the summer all this sort of say tourism in the north is more alive, because people from coastal lines where they can only go to the beach and enjoy the beach go to the north, and they can enjoy so much activities when it comes to zip lining, hiking, horse riding, cycling, etc., etc. They all can enjoy that, and there's so many lakes and national parks in northern Montenegro they can actually swim in and they can visit. So it's more variety when it comes to the north of Montenegro, because it lives throughout the year. People visit it during the summer as much as during the winter.
Wow, that's amazing. The last time when I have been in Montenegro, the most important and the most remarkable thing that I like, it was the canyons, because the canyons in Montenegro is something different and it's built different. Even if to compare with Switzerland, I have been in Switzerland a lot of times, but Montenegro nature is more remarkable than other countries. I can just compare it with Slovenia, but Slovenia doesn't have sea, so this is the totally different thing. And we, I think, discuss already everything that investors should know about location, and most of the questions is closed right now. If somebody will have other questions, they will be able to join our community and ask that questions, and we will be probably pleasured to answer them. And of course, the representatives of the Dukley will be able to answer to you directly, because they are interested to help you to make a proper investment. Right now is the time to speak about Dukley. Dukley itself, I have been speaking with your co-founder. He tell me the history about Dukley, right? I know a lot of information about the company, but I think the other people will be pleased to understand more about how much time Dukley exists, what the Dukley is doing on the market, for how long, and etc. Could you please dive deeper into that topic?
Of course, it will be my pleasure. So to say, buried and is coming from the roots of the country. So Dukley represents everything that Montenegro has to offer in one glam, meaning Dukley is a company that always chooses for its investors and buyers only the best when it comes to starting from locations. Number one locations in Montenegro are owned by us, and we are developing communities in these locations. And when it comes to a developer, as a developer, we focus on world-class standards rather than local standards, meaning we are bringing and we are developing Montenegro, and we are developing tourism of Montenegro by importing a lot of infrastructural opportunities and opportunities for locals as for the foreigners that are used to some other standards and bigger luxury. So when we talk about quality, we are not comparing ourselves to the local market, we compare ourselves to the global luxury real estate market. We have been in Montenegro and we have been existing for 15 years, and from year to year we have made sure that every critic, every small detail, every small mistake that we have made or haven't made has been deeply and detailedly made better, and we have tried to implement and always grow from year to year. As marketing and tourism and world luxury grows, we try to grow with it, and we make sure of that. And for every project we maintain complete transparency regarding the materials and technical specifications used in construction, from the stone on the facade to the brand of electrical sockets. Every detail is documented and shared with buyers before the investment is made. With transparency, this transparency allows investors to clearly understand what they are buying and how the project is being built. And we provide a regular construction updates and weekly development reports, ensuring investors remain informed throughout the entire development process. And our philosophy is simple. We do not cut corners when it comes to development, when it comes to the service, when it comes to actually the hotel service or the development part of the service. Even the smallest details we take care of, because in luxury development, the smallest details often make the biggest difference. So clients quickly recognize this when they compare projects, and we always make sure that what we have and our client doesn't have to worry about any smallest details when they actually own a real estate within Dukley.
Actually, that kind of principle is beautiful. I'm glad that you have that kind of principle, and I'm glad that we have been working with you before. But when the thing come into the numbers, and this is one of the most important topics for every investor, what is the occupancy rate in average in Dukley Gardens or Dukley Mountain Retreat, and what is the investor returns?
Thank you, Oleg, for question. Dukley company has at this point 3 projects. Dukley Gardens, this project is located in Budva, Mountain Retreat by Dukley project that is located in Kalashin, and the Dreams by Dukley project that is located in Tibet. And for example, in Dukley Gardens, investors benefit from a hybrid income structure combining guaranteed returns and additional revenue participation from the hotel operations. So this model allows owners to benefit from both stable income and long-term appreciation. So in 2025, a total of 2 million was distributed distributed to investors. And Dukley developments attract a truly international community of owners. So buyers come across Europe, the Middle East, North America, and other regions. And our projects bring together people from different cultures who share similar expectations. So quality, security, privacy, and lifestyle. And one of the things our clients appreciate most is the international environment combined with a safe and welcoming atmosphere. So Dukley communities are built around respect, comfort, and 5-star service, which allows actually residents from many different countries to live in and interact harmoniously.
That's really nice. And actually, you mentioned that you have like multicultural clients, and this is really important. What attracts those customers? What Dukley do differently from the other developers, and why the other developers not do the same things that Dukley do in your region?
It's very important when you have a client and when an investor or a client or a buyer comes to you, that means that they are interested in solving one of their problems. That problem can be, of course, investment. They want to invest their money. That problem can be vacation. They want to have something new, something different for them and their family to come and relax and spend time. They want to meet new people, make their connection web bigger and wider. So we as a developer do not compare ourselves to Montenegro and to local developers, because we make sure as we start our project, as I've told, from the location, that is the first thing. We make sure that our location is the one that offers the most rather than other developers. We make sure that our location is very well connected when it comes to the transport, to the airports, that is very well accessible, and that infrastructure that we offer and all of the things that client can see and find out about the place that he's in is very close to our development. And we are making sure that every developer, as he's continuing to purchase and he is finding out what we have to offer, that we are completely transparent. Meaning, if you were now, Oleg, one of my clients, and you came to invest or to buy, you would, before signing any paper, before deciding to buy anything or any residential unit from us or invest your money, you would already know every detail that we have put into our project, meaning from the facade, from the tiles. You would know that we are using #1 materials on the market. We are not cutting corners with the materials, with our wood, with our stone, and every other systems that we are implementing in our projects, from the AC, from HVAC systems, from our garages to the top of the residential units, our pools, etc., that we are not cutting corners and that we are using #1 materials, rather than some other developers that are not transparent with deadlines, that are not transparent with materials. You wouldn't know what you are buying and what you are investing in. So when it comes to us, we are proud to say that unlike any other development in Montenegro, we are not ones to compare with.
That's really nice. And you mentioned in the previous questions, the other thing that I'm interested in at the moment, you have been distributed more than $2 million between investors. I don't know, like it was the sales of the real estate or it was the management, but what I'm focused right now is the management. By distributing $2 million in 1 year between investors, who is responsible for the management in your properties? How is the quality of the management is regulated?
So Oleg, this is something that's very important to all of the investors. So Dukley provides a fully integrated property management and rental service. So this means that owners do not need to rely on external companies to manage their investment. All services are handled within Dukley ecosystem, ensuring consistent quality and operational control. So our services include property management, rental management, concierge services, maintenance and housekeeping, so guest services, and hospitality. So this integrated model allows us to maintain the 5-star service standard across all Dukley developments while maximizing rental performance for our owners. So Oleg, at this point, I would love us to change seats and I would love to ask you a few questions. We have a history together and we have worked very well together. At Mountain Retreat in Kalashin, we have had 283 investors and we have raised $385,000. So can you tell me how much were investors actually able to earn here?
Actually, I was not expected that you will ask me that kind of question, but here was the really interesting fact that developer fully completed his responsibility responsibilities and his obligations that he take on him. Honestly, it was really big surprise for us, and I was really appreciated for that. But when we are talking about the numbers, the property itself was, as you mentioned, raised 385k, and it was sold for 420k. I need 1 minute. I have in my computer information and report from the team about how much investors are earned, and I will share with you right now those numbers so you can understand a little bit better and you can understand exactly how many money investors generate with us. One thing that I need to mention is the algorithm with which we are raised money from the investors, and what we provide on our platform is quite unique, and it's not exactly works in the way how when the people invest without the platform. Here is why. First of all, we design our algorithm to allow the investors who invest on the early stage earn more money because they take in more risk on themselves. To the late investors, we are giving the higher prices because they're taking less risk on themselves. Honestly, here from on this spreadsheet that you can see right now, you can see all the numbers that team has been prepared for me, and you was right, there was 283 investors. Total raised capital is $300,000, and the property was sold for $420,000. The capital gain was $35,000. Is the simple math. Anyone can calculate it. But when the thing is coming up for the obligations of the developers say to investors that the rental date will start in the some exact point. From the May 2025 until the November of 2025, real estate developer paid to the investors 8% annual yield, and it's estimately around 11.5 thousand. And total returns for investors was increased from 420k up to 431,000. Honestly, in average between all of those investors, they get a 12.1% ROI, return on their investment. And if we understand how the APR works, right, and annualize it for the 15 months, the annualized ROI was estimately up to 10%. So that give us the understanding and that Dukley fully complete their responsibilities and all the investors generate enough of money. And also we prepared a simple spreadsheet investor segmentation that can tell us what is the difference of the money investors are generate in ROI between themselves. Like the early investors generate around roughly 15% ROI, almost 16, and the late investors generate 10% ROI. And in average, it was a little bit more than 12%. In my opinion, 12% on the real estate investments is the pretty good money, because first of all, those 283 people was not able to invest in the real estate before. With the technology that we provide, they make money, they not lose money, and they receive all of the money that they are invest plus their returns of investments. Honestly, this is like really successful case in my opinion. So that's our experience to work with Dukley, and this is our experience to work with your company. So I'm really appreciated that you come to us right now with a new offer, right, and the new opportunity. And thank you so much for asking that kind of question. I was really glad to share the numbers. Probably investors who will be from your side right now can understand a little bit better what the expectations and how much money they can generate. That was example on the Dukley mountain retreat. As I understand right now, you prepared the other phase of that project, right? And this will be the pretty unique on our platform, because before we was not give the opportunity to invest in something like that. I'm talking right now about new type of investment this is the glamping. You mentioned that your investors from your side asking for some kind of things where they can invest with you, and that things should be small, right? Could you please let me know a little bit more about why exactly Glamping was chosen by the Dukley, and how the decision come to your management?
So Oleg, thank you previously for answering and showing the numbers. That is very, very important for us and for our investors. So when it comes to glamping and our step further that we are taking, it represents a very natural step in evolution of modern tourism. So today's travelers increasingly look for experiences that combine nature, comfort, and sustainability. And Montenegro is uniquely positioned, as we already talked about, for this concept because of its incredible landscapes, mountains, forests, national parks, and coastline, and all within a small geographic area. So glamping allows us to offer something different from traditional hospitality. So an immersive experience in nature while maintaining the level of comfort and service expected from a premium destination. From an investment perspective, it is also a very interesting model. So because smaller accommodation units like glamping lodges or luxury tents often generate higher revenue per square meter compared to traditional hotel rooms or apartments. They require lower construction costs while still allowing premium nightly rates due to the unique experience they offer. And this combination of lower initial investment, strong demand for nature-based tourism, and efficient revenue generation makes glamping a very attractive opportunity both for investors and for the future of sustainable tourism in Montenegro.
So, as I understand, that glamping right now is the new trendy thing, right? When it's comparing about the investment, we understand that the square meter returns in the glamping is better than in the other types of accommodation. And honestly, what you provide in your renders is not really looks like a glamping. It's called glamping in my opinion, but it's the smaller houses and the smaller accommodation places, but probably in the type of the construction that calls glamping. But when the question is coming back to the numbers and when the question is coming back to the returns is the most important thing what we need to discuss. Could you please let me know where is the estimate percentage rate and estimate prices between the glamping and between the traditional accommodation types?
Glamping allows us to offer something different from traditional hospitality, an immersive experience in nature while maintaining the level of comfort. As you just say, this doesn't look like glamping, but we are making sure that level of comfort and service expected from a premium destination is met. And from an investment perspective, it is also a very interesting model because smaller accommodation units like glamping lodges, they generate higher revenue per square meters based and compared to traditional hotel rooms or apartments. So, for example, the average daily rate in Dukley hotel is approximately 450 per night. And for the glamping units, the expected rate will be around 120 euros per night, positioning the product as a more accessible nature-based experience while maintaining the stable occupancy levels. Maybe some people will now ask themselves, like, how exactly can you earn more money if the ADR is actually lower than in a hotel? The thing is that here in our hotel, we have one bedroom apartment, the smallest one, that actually earns more money than a penthouse that is much more expensive per night than any other apartment. The smaller one brings us more money because it is very much asked for. People are looking for smaller apartments, people are looking for smaller accommodation and something different rather than just spending their money and being somewhere where they are usually placing themselves when they go to a hotel or to a luxury destination. This is something different that will be more asked for than actually this standard room in a hotel. And currently in Montenegro, there are several small glamping projects and they are operated by individual entrepreneurs. And there is no integrated glamping resorts with professional management as we offer with high service standards. So Mountain Retreat by Dukley will be among the first projects offering glamping as a part of fully developed resort ecosystem and with infrastructure and professional hospitality management.
Okay, you already answered even on my next question, but partially, right? Because I would like to ask about the competition and why do you think if the other glampings in the Montenegro exist, and I know that there exist, your glamping site will be more profitable and will generate enough of money, will not compete and will not lose in the returns?
Thank you, Oleg. As always, we make sure that we don't have competition for sure. And in this part, we wanted for our guests and the tourists that actually love mountain destinations like Kolashin, and for people who haven't previously visited Montenegro, we wanted to open doors of some completely new experiences. But it was very, very important to us to maintain our 5-star level of hospitality and of service. And this is something that is very complex when it comes to glamping, because of course people want to come glamping. That means that there will be alone in the nature, they will have this wonderful experience, but also we want luxury inside glamping. We want service for people who actually are looking for something different, but they want to be safe. They want to feel completely supported by the investor, meaning that definitely it's very easy to start glamping too, because this is a construction that doesn't cost much, and every person who is looking to make an investment can say, oh, okay, well, now I'm going to invest in glamping and I'm going to make 2 glamping houses, okay, and then I'm going to earn money and I'm gonna get my ROI, and but this is very complex, because for those small glamping houses you have to make sure that people that come there have a wonderful experience so that you can base your prices on your service. And this requires previously and very big hotel management experience that we already have for 15 years. And we have 7 restaurants and 3 beaches. And we are people who actually know the business. So alone, you cannot compare, and we actually cannot have any kind of, sort to say, competitor.
That's really nice. You're pretty confident in what you're saying, and I really appreciate for sharing all of that information. When the question is coming about the prices, it's always also about who is your guests. Could you share about more information? Who you expect will be your guests in the glampings?
So according to our projections, Oleg, the glamping units will attract different types of guests throughout the year. So during the summer season, the main audience will be individual travelers and couples who enjoy nature and active tourism in the mountain destinations like Kolashin. So many of these guests may not have previously visited Montenegro, but are already familiar with, attracted to this type of nature-oriented lifestyle.
Okay, so it's pretty different, but it's not built for the families, right?
So actually it is. All of our projects are a family project. So definitely they are made for families. For sure, all of the glamping project has completely full support for people who choose to come with families or by themselves or just in couples.
That's pretty nice. And as I understand, the mountain retreat is the part of that big area, right? So will be the bigger rooms and chalets, and also the glamping on the side for the lesser pricing, right?
Yes, of course. We are known for the variety of our offers. As for investors, and on the same level, it's for our guests and the people who are actually visiting us and staying in our hotel. Of course, you can choose from smaller to bigger units. You can choose from chalets and more comfortable units, meaning not comfortable, but meaning more spacious ones, 2-level or 3-level residence. And on the other side, of course, you will have glamping and you will have big infrastructure such as restaurants, barbecue zones, playgrounds, etc., etc. So, and of course, the destination is very attractive, meaning we are very close to Biogradska Gora National Park and to the ski resort. So this is definitely a unique experience in Montenegro.
Yeah, actually that's pretty nice. And you mentioned a lot of infrastructure, a lot of different things. And I understand that people can pay for the infrastructure. And I understand that kind of infrastructure also requires the support. What about the daily rates and how the daily rates will be variated? How you understand that pricing for the houses right now is fair and the glampings is fair? Could you please let us know a little bit more how you plan to manage those properties and generate as much as possible of the revenue for the end investor, because this is the most important topic, and the investors would like to ask why you expecting and how you expect that occupancy rate will be high, why the prices will be fair enough, and at at the same time, the people who invest in those properties generate enough of revenue?
So Oleg, as you already previously know, we have guaranteed return of investments or shared revenue investments. So we make sure that if you don't want to think as an investor that much of your revenue, then you just choose the guaranteed return of investment program, and then you definitely once a year collect your money, and we take care of everything. And as this point, nightly rates are determined and based on market conditions, seasonality and demand levels. For example, at this point, our chalets are completely sold out for the summer when it comes to hotel rooms and renting. We are completely booked, and pricing will be managed by the Dukley hospitality team, which has extensive experience in rental management of resort properties and applies a dynamic pricing approach based on occupancy and demand. This means that throughout the season, as we go, the prices change based on, of course, demand and seasonality.
As I hear, already in March, you fully booked for the summer.
Yes, of course we are.
How do you achieve that?
Oh, we achieve that through our experience, meaning we have 15 years behind us as a people who actually invest in tourism, and we invest in our hotels, and our guests actually are so confident when it comes to our future developments that everything new that we put on the market in Montenegro, they immediately want to try, and they trust it will be the best experience. So I'm happy to say that for this summer season in Kalashin, we are fully booked.
Wow. So that's amazing. And when the thing is coming up to the numbers, is there any special offers for the investors who contribute or invest more than $50,000?
So at the moment, special conditions for investor contributing 50K or more are still under consideration. We are currently evaluating potential additional benefits, incentives that may be offered to investors at this level.
Okay, and every investor actually, when they are deciding an investment somewhere, right, they need to understand what they are buying. Could you please let us know a little bit more about the technical details of the compounds that you are building? What is the materials are you using? How much guarantees you have? Why that kind of materials and why that kind of compounds can exist really long time?
Dukley is a brand that actually offers #1 materials, and we always make sure that our investors and our owners and buyers have the best materials and the best buy for their money. So this modular units are factory-built structures based on a load-bearing steel frame. So the structure is made of steel profiles in accordance with European standards. So the walls, floors, and roof have a multi-layer composition with thermal insulation made of mineral wool with great density. So the exterior features a ventilated facade system with HPL panels and metal cladding elements. So windows and doors are made of aluminum profiles with thermal break and energy efficient double glazing.
And what is the estimated lifespan for such kind of compounds?
So the expected lifespans of such modular structures with proper operation and regular maintenance is approximately 25 to 30 years. So major interior refurbishment like furniture, textiles and equipment is typically planned every 10 to 12 years, so in line with hospitality and industry standards.
When we are talking about investments, we also need to talk about the guarantees. Could you please clarify what kind of guarantees each investor receives when he invests in your project?
One of the main questions is actually this. It would be for all of us. If you were investing your money, if you were looking to expand, this would be your first question. So it would be, what are my guarantees? It's very easy to say that 15 years behind us wouldn't be 15 years and we wouldn't last this long if we weren't one of the safest and one of the most responsible developers in Western Balkans. Meaning that when it comes to the guarantees within our company and within our hotel, our client has insurance, double insurance. When it comes to all the damages, if you decide to give us your real estate for us to manage and to rent, we will make sure to give it back to you the same way that we have received it. This allows us to have some kind of, trust between us and the investors that choose us rather than anyone else. So we have our double insurance, the insurance that comes from the ownership and of course the insurance that comes from the hotel. well. So every kind of smallest details and every kind of malfunction, when we make sure that everything is covered by our insurances, that is where the most part of our investment for our owners is put into the insurance, so that we can make sure that anything that goes wrong is resolved very quickly. And we also make sure that all of the spare parts that are necessary, making this problem disappear in short period, they are kept in the location of the project. So meaning a lot of spare parts and a lot of things that can go wrong, we are able, with our departments, our technical departments and our architects and project managers that are always on site and always available, that all of these problems are solved very quickly.
Actually, your explanation is pretty clear, but one thing that I would like to clarify, even after the 25 up to 30 years, we can imagine that houses already not exist. The land under the house will be in the ownership for the investor. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. The land will 100% owned by the investor, and he can do with his own land, as I said, whatever he wants. This is something that makes us different from, for example, Bali, where the ownership is very questionable. Here, this is your land, and of course you can do with it as you please.
Yeah, actually that's good to have land in the mountains, I think.
Yeah, it's very fast rising here in Montenegro.
Okay, and for me, as for the investor, there is the last and the most important question, what I ask myself when I'm investing, and probably other investors who invest with us or with you, asking you all the time. What kind of risks do I have when I invest in such project? Could you please share with me and the other people who will watch that video what kind of risk they can get and how you're trying to regulate those risks?
It's very interesting that there's a lot of risks that can actually happen that are not something that we can actually impact. There's a lot of risks that part of natural hazards, for example, like landlines, floods, wildfires in mountain terrain, regulatory risk, and of course damage risks. When it comes to these natural hazards, as I have mentioned, it's very important to have good insurance that covers 100% damages and of course natural hazards. So when it comes to natural hazards, we are completely covered by insurance. And let me tell you something also that is very important from our side. So we have chose our locations to be very safe. Our engineers and geodets have chosen this land and the part of the land so that it has minimal risks of floods, landslides, wildfires, and etc. When we are talking about regulatory risk, this is something that affects us from the side of our country. So Montenegro can change rules for glamping operations, but it can only change these rules for the better, meaning it can be regulated to bring more profit to the investors and bring more profit to Montenegro, because this is something that will develop our country when it comes to tourism and something that we haven't had the opportunity to offer to our visitors until this point. And on the other side, when it comes to the damages, this is something that can affect the income of the overall property, but as I have told you and I've made sure that everyone understands that this is something that can be completely fixed within the smallest time frame.
So, as I understand, you take the responsibility about the risks if something will be damaged on the property. From the regulatory perspective, you see that Montenegro really take care of all the tourism, right? Because this is one of the main source of income for the Montenegro. And about the natural hazards, it's about insurance that you already mentioned before. Is it correct?
Of course, yes it is. Yes it is. Because glamping and tourism is the main branch for Montenegrin GDP.
Okay, right now, it's pretty clear right now, and thank you so much for all those clarifications. I hope you are not too tired right now, because we come into the most interesting and exciting point. And this is the actual returns, and this is the actual expectations for the real estate and for the project that you're talking about today. So let's begin. I would like to ask you the questions about how it will be, what investors can expect, and how much money they can generate with the investment that we offer to them. So I know that you prepared the really good income for our investors, and we will come to that a little bit later. First of all, I would like to ask you where the investor is invested and what he gets after his investment. What exactly he get in when we are talking about the real estate, because as I understand, it's not the one apartment or one unit that you have been placed before on our platform. It's something a little bit different. Let me know a little bit more about that, please.
So Oleg, I will try to make you and everyone interested. Imagine yourself being close to a border of a national park, Biogradska Gora in Kalashin, when it comes to the location. Imagine there is nothing around you and you're coming across a gated community offering 10 chalets. Each chalet is divided into apartments. So some selected chalets have 2 owners, the other selected ones have 4 owners. Every chalet has its own parking in front. You have concierge. You're completely closed off. You have your own 365 days a year security. There's a restaurant. There's a shuttle bus that will take you as the owner and the guest directly to ski lifts. You have your management, the people who will take care of every need you have, and of course there is a completely separated department for everything when it comes to the documentation, when it comes to your transfers, when it comes to all the tours you want to take. So imagine yourself coming somewhere, laying down your suitcases, and every care and every request you have has been taken care of. And this actually, when it comes to the design, something that is incorporated in nature, and we have made sure that all of the luxury and quality has completely blended with the nature around you. There is nothing and no one you can hear except finding yourself in something that is very unimaginable and imaginable to experience, because the nature around you is completely nature. It's not something that we have made. We haven't incorporated anything. Everything around, all of the canyons and everything in Kalashin is completely made by nature, not by us and not by men.
Okay, and you sold me the clear picture of the existing mountain retreat. But when we are talking about the glamping, where exactly investors invest? What they get? What kind of an investment opportunity they invest in? Because as I understand right now, there is bunch of the houses on the land plot, or how it's designed. Let me know a little bit more about that opportunity.
Thank you, Oleg, for this question. When it comes to what investor is actually buying, this project offers a unique opportunity to invest in 10 houses that will be marked on a land plot, and the worth of this project is $940K.
Okay, so totally investor get the 10 units, right? Not exactly like one investor. Of course, if somebody invests 940,000, he will be owner of the 10 units, but we're talking about the collective investments when a lot of people will join that opportunity. So the investors itself as a community get 10 units on the land plot and $94,000 each unit. So this is actually a pretty good price for the Montenegro, because if to compare it with the mountain retreat chalet, what you have been mentioned before, the price was 385, and honestly it's like 4 units, 4 glamping units, and this is pretty impressive. And when we are talking about that kind of opportunity, the most important topic is the returns. So I know that you're offering some special and unique option for the investors. Let me know a little bit more about what the expectations and what investor will get in the terms of the annual returns.
So Oleg, when it comes to the APR, we are offering 13% return in the 2 years. So we are guaranteeing based on our experience, and this is something that will be documented and will be signed for the ease and of course for the transparency of us as the developers and the investors. It will be completely documented, and this is something that we are really happy to share, because this opportunity in Europe at this point really cease to exist.
Yeah, actually in Europe it's even not possible to get such kind of income, because in my knowing and in my experience, the best opportunities that people right now can get, they can get in Poland. It's like up to 7% per year, but averagely it's around like 5, 6, something like that. So honestly, this is like really good opportunity. And you mentioned that guaranteed an income in 13% will be lasting for the 2 years. So after 2 years, investor return almost 1/3 of his investment. What's happening next? What kind of returns and expectations investor can get?
So Oleg, this is actually a very common question that we get is, what is the next step? How can I continue to earn and get my return on investment? So after the guaranteed period, we are going into the 50-50 revenue split program. That means that you as the investor will get 50% of the revenue and the other 50% will go to us as the developers. This 50% that go to us, we are using to make sure that your real estate has been rented and is getting the maximum capacity of its return of investment. We will make sure from the side of marketing, from the side of management, from the side of all of the expenses that come into booking, into actually making the revenue for you, where on your side you actually don't have to do anything. And on this 50% revenue, based on our occupancy rates that we have predicted, you will still be at around 7 to 8% return of investment.
So you're talking about around roughly 7-8% per year, and this is based on the experience in other projects, right? In what is located in near to the sea. But as I understand, it can be even more in the mountains, right? Because the mountains has the better seasoning in what I have been read during my research, because right now a lot of people like go into the ski in the winter, as you mentioned before, and also they will be able to enjoy the nature during the summertime. And honestly, this is like really unique and really great investment opportunity when we are talking about investments in the Europe. So what I think that I'm personally will gonna invest in that project at least like couple $1,000. Actually, even more. I will not tell the amount, but I will gonna invest in that opportunity too, because I have been investing with you personally in mountain retreat, and that kind of opportunity I will take also. I think right now is the most important topics was already discussed, but not all of them. I would like to also discuss about the final things, and the final block is the documentation. You mentioned that everything will be documented and we will have the signed agreement about the guaranteed income, and after that guaranteed income will be over, how is the documentation process will go? As I understand, will be re-signed the new contract, or how it will gonna go?
So I will be pretty straightforward, because this is very important. After we sign the sales purchase agreement, for example, for the unit that you have purchased, after that, we are signing the documents that will state also with the notary. So we are making sure that your investment and you feel completely safe with us as the developers. So we will make sure that we have signed our return of investments program that is guaranteed also with the notary, where we will state all of the regulations that we have previously been transparent with. And of course, after that guaranteed period, this 50-50 revenue program will also be signed as an annex of the agreement, also with the notary. Also, all of the regulations will be completely transparent. So this is something that we will completely help you with. All of the documents and all of the agreements that are made will be made by our legal department. They are the ones responsible to make sure that you're completely covered and you can feel safe from the side of investment. And all of the documents you will be able to see and inspect beforehand, before signing anything. And of course, our legal department is here for you to make sure that you understand everything that you are signing, and of course to feel completely satisfied with your investment.
So, Ivana, thank you so much for the explanation and for everything that you share with us today. And there is the one last question that I have for you, because I already mentioned that I will gonna invest in that project by myself. You as the employee of Dukley, will you gonna invest also, or you will pass that opportunity?
All of your questions are straight to the center as this one is. If I did not truly believe in this company, its vision and the quality of the projects we develop, I would not be dedicating my time and energy to working here. So being a part of Dukley for me is not only a professional role, but it's also a belief in a long-term value we create. So we have proven a reliability through completed projects, international clients, and a clear development strategy focused entirely on Montenegro. So that level of focus and experience gives investors and me confidence that projects with the standards that are promised. So honestly speaking, with the opportunity to invest myself, I would see it as one of the most smartest investments that I could make. So for sure, yes, Oleg.
Okay, I really appreciate your time today, and I really appreciate that you share with us all of that information. The last word that I would like to say, in our last project in Dukley, the investors make up to 16% ROI from their investment. So that opportunity that Dukley right now placing in our new product ecosystem is roughly unique. And honestly, this is one of the best opportunities that we get on our platform. So take that chance and start investing with Dukley and Binaryx in the real estate worldwide today and generate guaranteed income 26% in the next 2 years with us. So guys, that was Oleg and Ivana, Binaryx and Dukley, and I'm really pleased to have such kind of guests today. Ivana, I really appreciate for your time, for your expertise, and for sharing your vision and sharing details about project that you're placing on our platform today.
Oleg, thank you very much. As always, it is a high pleasure to talk to you, be your guest, and of course, to be a part of this step together with you.
Thank you, and see you next time. And you guys start investing right now. Ivana, and also one question for you today is, I know that we are already working with the Dukley, but today we start the new chapter. Dukley placing their properties in our new product ecosystem. That's kind of the own investment house for the Dukley, where the Dukley can invite his investors. Could you please share with me why the Dukley choose to place other investment opportunities on Binaryx, and what motivates your company to start working and offering that kind of opportunities for your investor?
This is something that it's very easy to answer. Since we came here in Montenegro and since we actually started all of this Dukley brand, we have been the ones to take it always a step further, to offer something new to our investors and to our buyers that they haven't had the opportunity to come with. So I can say on this side that we are very, very bold developers. We go for all of it, or we actually don't do anything. So when it comes to the new project, this is something that is actually demanded. We have found out through our communications with our investors that previously have had the opportunity to go with something like this with us through Binaryx, that actually demand is something that made us think of this new idea, and actually we are very confident and we believe that this will be something that will take us to the next level.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing such kind of experience with us and with all of those guys who will watch this video.
Thank you, Alec, for this amazing opportunity.
Thank you.